Good evening, good afternoon, folks. Welcome yet to another episode of the Witching Hour podcast. I am your host, as always, John Roycelyn. With me tonight, new guest, director, filmmaker from from mid-state Florida, Mr. Terry Jarrell. Correct on the Jarrell?
That works. It's
Uh,
Jarrell. I answered about
Jarrell.
anything,
Uh,
so we ain't fancy here.
Well, I definitely appreciate you taking the time for me. The film in question tonight, boys and girls, we are here to talk to you about is Terry's film Harlow's Haunt, which is making quite a stir amongst the film festivals I see.
Yeah, it's kicked up a little dust here and there. We're our Harlow's team and our little group of crazies here in the middle of Florida are just super appreciative, humbled by the attention, the support we're getting. And I really appreciate you taking time to have us on and shine a little spotlight on our project, our movie,
Well,
and
of
all the stuff we
course,
got on.
of course.
Yeah, we in fact today, this morning or overnight, we received another laurel, an official selection laurel for the International Film Festival of Belgium, and it's our 90th laurel, and it's like what? It's like
Wow.
staggering, and so we've the movie is going to be released around Halloween. Our distributor, our media company is Bayview Entertainment, and they're getting everything ready, get all the wheels in motion, all for that. We'll be of course have Blu-rays and all that. But leading up to it, we've been on film festivals locally and around the area, and the screenings we're getting solid feedback. Reviewers are digging it, and it's quite a different movie in a lot of ways, and all that. But yeah, so that's my short answer. I'm sorry.
No,
Overcaffeinated.
no, we're here for you. We are here for you. That's awesome. So, now, the basis of the film deals with folklore, local legends, and so forth. Is that correct?
It's based on that. It kind of sort of is, and it's kind of a funny genesis to that. Florida, where it is geographically located, is it's a lot different than a lot of well, I guess the whole country has its own particulars. I'm from West Virginia originally, and I've
All
lived
right.
in Florida 30 some years, and there's similarities yet subtle differences in textures of kind of like the backwoods
Sure.
element. And I grew up actually in the country in West Virginia as a kid. And when I moved to Florida, I lived in Daytona for quite a few years. I moved over here to Central Florida. I'm right near Disney. But I started learning more about these little towns that still exist, like out toward the Everglades, like down southwest, central Florida. And there's still a lot of gators in the swamp, if you want to say that. It's
Yeah, yeah. It's. I tell you, I don't mean to interrupt you. I've been
no,
all up and down the East Coast and have lived in parts of Central America, not Central America, and the Midwest, let's say, and parts of Florida that I lived in. I was in the Southwest. I was in Fort Myers and
oh,
Cape
okay.
Coral for a good handful of years. Met my wife. She and I relocated back to where I was primarily raised in Maryland.
Okay.
Small towns in Maryland on the Eastern Shore, um, Pennsylvania, New York that I've been into. Um, but I got to tell you, man, some parts of Florida, yeah, I would say the night in some of these drive-through inns that you find. I
Yeah.
just, I'm telling you, it's like the movies.
I'm kind of
People
getting
always
goosebumps
say,
hearing you describe it. Yeah.
I'm telling you, the movies always make it look so eerie and creepy. And you got a guy named Jed and his brother named Bubba on the other side of the pickup truck staring
Yeah.
at you, and you don't see them again.
Right.
You are never heard from. Your car disappears, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
There are some creepy ass backwoods areas. Great people, great. I wasn't sad to leave. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I've got great friends that I miss down there, but as far as what you are describing, yes, lo and behold, Florida holds the best backwoods creepy era in my book.
It is, you can get out here and it is some really, really creepy areas. And, like a lot of, again, kind of one of the thought starters was all these little towns kind of near where I live. Again, I live in the Disney area. You think of Disney, it's this big booming, major, world's biggest attraction, and got Universal next to it, SeaWorld and all that. I mean, all this is right there, but then you can go 10 miles from there and you are in a black hole. You fell off the earth. And a lot of these little towns still, for some reason it stuck with me. They have like a name, like Haines City, or like something so and so town, or Johnson City, and they're not cities. They're about 6 or 8 buildings, along a 2-lane road. And I started kind of digging around. I started finding a lot of unsavory stuff. Kind of people like would have a blowout, say, with their church up north, times past, and they would say, okay, that's it, I'm leaving, I'm going to go start my own thing, I'm going to go down here to Florida. There's really, it's unmonitored kind of, I don't know about now so much, probably,
right,
but at these times it was just like nobody's looking over your shoulder, so go do what you want, go set up your own camp, town, cult, whatever you want to do. And then you had the element of stuff coming up from the islands back and forth, like the voodoo and the witchy stuff and all that. So it just was kind of a cool basis that really lit a lot of fires in my brain, thinking, well, there's some story here. And so that stuff, I've been a writer for a long time. I've written mostly editorially for magazines and stuff like that through my career arc through technology and then into filmmaking and all. But I've been kind of one of those hidden creative writers. And so I've had all these parts and thoughts and concepts and things, and it just, for some weird reason, it had this gravity that started pulling this all together once that ignition switch hit. And now Harlow's is not to give too much away, but it's blowing up into far more than just this one story. And there's a lot of legs under it. And the more we go along here, it's just, the more you learn and the more it kind of fleshes out. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, it's all based here in Central Florida. We did shoot the majority of the movie at a working haunt here in Plant City, Florida. Sir Henry's Haunted Trail is probably the biggest in Florida, or one of the biggest anyway. Absolutely fantastic. I can't pat those guys or plug them or whatever enough. They do a fantastic job, as cinematic as you're going to want. It's an amazing haunt, but we didn't so much use it. Part of the story, we shot it as the haunt, but other parts of it was perfect for our sets that we needed for an alternate timeline set in 1926. And Sir Henry's it's I-4 is the main interstate, as you know, goes right from Daytona to Tampa, cuts right through the middle of the state. You can literally see the gate to Sir Henry's from I-4 as you drive by. But you get out there at 2 a.m. and you're shooting, bloody kill scenes. It gets a little creepy. Sure. And it's like you're a half mile off the road, but feels like you are out in the dark. And
no one will find you or hear you scream.
It'll just be a memory. They'll sing songs about you. And so it was really cool. Then we shot a good portion at an attraction right near Disney in Kissimmee, Florida, called Old Town. And those people,
I do love Old Town.
Oh, you've been to Old Town?
I do. I've stayed there a couple times.
Yep.
When we took the family up to go to Disney, when I first moved there with my kids and so forth, traveled up from Cape Coral area up to there and stayed, and the big car show and the big I don't even know what it was, but anyway, continue. My apologies.
No, you're good. Old Town was really cool. We to explain why, the story is set in 2 timelines. It starts in 1926 with this guy named Harlow, and Harlow he's got some secrets. He's got some deep stuff that he has went through in his life. It's changed him from a person that he had been all his life. A sudden occurrence, relatively sudden occurrence, sort of flipped his whole world upside down, inside out, and made him, he's the shell of what he used to be. And he's a likable guy, but you also end up hating him. There's a lot of depth, a lot of texture to him. John Dugan played Grandpa Sawyer in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Great friend. I love John, and he plays Harlow. He graciously agreed. After I was terrified to ask him, but even though I've known him for a long time, I was like all sheepish about it. And I actually wrote the story with John in mind. He was my visual picture. I could hear the lines coming from John the whole time. And so it's magic to have John. He's fantastic. He's actually got several Best Actor awards already from the festivals for the
Wow.
role. So yeah, so he's just amazing. I just gotta love John, and he brought so much to that role. But the movie starts off with Harlow, and then we move into present day with a group of five friends that are reconnecting. They've all had some tragedy in their life. They're childhood friends. They've grown up together, but some things have happened to fragment them, and it's all been fairly varying degrees of tragedy and things that have happened over this course of the recent few years, and they've been basically apart for a couple years. And they decided enough's enough. Friendship and love is stronger than that. Let's go out. We're just going to go out for Halloween. We're going, we've got all these like Halloween Horror Nights. We've got all these attractions, these haunts and stuff all around, all this fun stuff. Let's go have some drinks, which is what we shot at Old Town. And they meet up there and kind of hang out for a bit, chit chat, get a little reacquainted, and then they go out for their night, which kind of doesn't go as planned. So that's sort of the gist of the story. But yeah, Old Town was a great bar setting, a restaurant there, the Southern Breeze, opened up to us, and we came in and shot there for a few days, and it was a lot of fun. It was, of course, at Old Town, it's easy to get distracted with all the stuff going on. And we just kept wanting to go over to the haunted house, Mortem Manor, and play.
Right.
But we got the work done. Sir Henry's, again, it was just an amazing experience being out there and shooting out there at all hours. We were out there about 14 days, maybe. So we had about 18, 19 days of set time.
So how long did it take you from start to finish, let's say, as far as filming goes?
Filming, we had to work around everybody's schedule. So we had kind of a large cast, and everybody has life. They have families and jobs and this and that. So there was a lot of full throttle, full brake going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we started shooting about mid-April. I can't remember the date. It was like maybe late, like April 20th, roughly. And we wrapped about the middle of July. But again, we would shoot on weekends, or then we would shoot like 2 or 3 days during the week. And then one of our key cast members had to be in California for a training thing for, I think, a week or two. So we took a break there. So it was some stop and go, but that worked well because I did, again, this is just where my experience lies. I did pretty much all the tech side of it. I did the editing, I did all the compositing, compiling, all that kind of stuff to put it together. So it would give me a break to sort of get caught up and then look at where we needed to go for the next step technically, what gear, the cameras. We used some pretty interesting camera stuff. Later on, I'm going to reveal how we shot it. We shot it fairly differently. I'm a creative camera nut, even though there's stuff, it's not really obvious that you're seeing going on there, but it's when I do a thing on that, it's going to be interesting, and people are going to be like, "Oh my God, that's wacky, it's nuts."
So did you, as on top of directing, were you also the DP?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I went and picked up pizza for lunch. I mean, I just kind of did it all. No, I didn't do it all. I'm taking too much credit. But everybody was great and jumped in. I'm really lucky to now have one of our cast members came on, and we just immediately clicked. We hit it off, best buddies right off. Amy Rolfson, and she plays Beth in the story. And I ended up Amy just jumped in. I didn't even think to ask her to help do this or with that. And everybody was being helpful, but Amy just took the bull by the horns and just I ended up just making her associate producer because she really got it done. She was and it was enormously valuable to help me kind of not have to deal with so many things, sure, or at least have a sounding board about things. And Amy has since come on. She's a partner with me at Black Dog Films, and we're working together on future projects moving forward. So,
Oh, well, very nice, and
real.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. She's fantastic. She's that voice of reason a lot of times, and because as a creative, I get kind of I
Funny
start
how
just
we
throwing
all need
things.
that in it. Yeah, without even knowing it, we all eventually need that. So, what can people look forward to out of this film? Is this a now? I know it's being released this season of
Hmm.
2023 during the Halloween season,
Hmm.
or at least hopefully in October.
Right.
Is this a Halloween-ish themed movie? Does it have anything to do with Halloween? I know that you had mentioned, filming in the haunt and so forth. So I know a lot of films where they wait and it is actually, trick or treaters are in the movie, or you'll see the
Hmm.
house is decorated. It's December or October 30th, whatever, on the calendar somewhere in the movie. So it's a Halloween film.
Right.
Is Harlow's Haunt supposed to be a Halloween film?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I thought a lot about that when I was writing it, and Halloween was almost how it almost sounds the wrong way. I'll say it anyway. It almost an excuse or a setting. It's
Too
not.
easy.
It's too easy. It was
Yeah.
like we've seen so many Halloween films and all that where that's kind of like the tent pole. Everything revolves around
Right.
Halloween. This almost is like an incidental thing that in time where these friends are getting back together, but it also has the obvious reasons for being a horror thriller type movie setting, a Halloween setting, and it plays into the story as the story progresses, especially through the ending. But it's not. We don't really beat the Halloween drum all that loudly. It's there. It's just
In the
would be.
background.
It's kind of in the background, and my writing, my influences are a little, not. Just weird. I mean, we'll just say it. I'm just nuts. Um, my three influences that always I just hear these three voices in my head constantly when I'm writing anything, summaries or a script or even directing. David Lynch, Hitchcock, and Robert Rodriguez.
Nice.
And so those are just the three guys that live in my brain, and I'm not afraid of like long scenes. We've got some pretty long dialogue-y scenes, and it's there's a lot of story here, more so than just out and out slasher and blood, and which is there. But I really want to develop a story that kind of gets you thinking and draws you into the world of what not only Harlow and the people in his timeline are dealing with or experiencing, but what the current cast to get to know the characters. And the characters are all kind of framed around people that we all know. We've all got a friend that has one particular trait or quirk or personality, and they kind of got their own flavor. And I kind of wrote that with based on people I know, just friends of mine. Like, some things are like, annoying things like, I wish he would stop doing that. And there's other things that are really admirable. Like, okay, this guy was really cool about XYZ. So I want to make the characters as real and as familiar to the viewer. So you kind of get that visceral connection when you watch them, and you hopefully you'll like them, and some of them you want to wring their neck, but in that buddy way. And so it's pretty narrative that way, and I've been getting. I'm just so happy to hear the reviewers that have seen it. Some of the festival feedback has been. I love hearing the word "feel." It's making them feel something, and it's kind of got that gritty, grungy cinematography. It's got this sort of it's hard to define, but it's got this feely thing, and that's resonating. And so I'm just dazzled, thrilled, honored, amazed. I don't know. We'll pick a word.
So to review your own film, sit down and watch it tonight.
Hmm.
Anything that you would be like, oh my God, why did I do this? I should have changed that. Are you your own worst critic?
I am my own worst, most horrible. If I could take myself out back and beat myself up, I would do it. But no,
Are you happy with the product?
I am. I'm really happy.
Okay. Or are you going to tell me I made this movie? I think it's a total piece of shit, but we're done, and I owe it to the people that helped me to at least put it out there.
That's it. Exactly. No,
Exactly.
you nailed it. No, I am actually more than happy with the way it turned out. The
Good.
way, because we of course we're on a very limited budget, and we had
Sure.
to work within what we had. We didn't have a lot of anything at our
Sure.
disposal, but I love that because it forced everybody involved to be more creative.
Sure.
You have to, necessity is what I don't know. I'll screw up the metaphor. Is a necessity is the mother of invention, or whatever that.
Right. Right. No, I'm with you. Sure.
Yeah, it's like, you're going to have to figure out how to get from point A to point B and then to ultimately point Z, one way or the other. If you have, $100,000 or $100 million or, $100, boy, it'd be nice to have $100 to make a movie. But whatever you've got, I mean, you need to be honest with yourself about that. But the cast was amazing. The acting, I watched the movie all the time. I watch it constantly. I'm just nuts. So I go back and I watch it, and to sort of learn from it. And honestly, I'll get away from it for a couple of weeks. I'll go back and I'll watch a certain section or a certain few clips or something, and I'll look at it and through fresher eyes, and that way I can kind of take myself out of it, because when I see it, especially early on when it was first done, we did the final cut. Boom, this is it. And I turn the masters over to Bayview. It's in their hands now. Now they run with it. And that's you're done at that point. And I would watch it, and all I would see is like things like, well, I wish I would have carried that out 5 more frames, or I wish I would have done it. You start playing that game with yourself.
Right.
I wish. And it's really not as valid as you think. Once you put some distance and you come back and watch it through fresh eyes, then it's a whole different experience. And that's what I'm finding now. I've kind of taken that little bit of a vacation, and now I can see it for a standalone project, and not just, again, going through the editing process and spending so many times sitting in this chair, going through and fine tuning and adding
Sure.
the layers and the effects and the color correction and the million things that go on, the sound adjustments and blah blah blah. It goes on and on and on, and you kind of get away from that so you can see it differently. But from what everybody delivered, beyond expectations, fantastic. We have beautiful art from Kevin Cleveland, did the poster, and Kevin was an associate producer. He also plays the villain at the end. He's the bad guy, and or one of. And so we just, everybody kind of jumped in and really invested themselves, and that I think made the project. Again, I don't know, I heard this as a kid or something, but it was always, in any kind of situation like this, try to surround yourself with fantastic people at what they do, and make yourself the weakest link in the chain.
Yep.
And we've an old saying, we've heard that.
Yep.
And so that, I think, is where it's gotten its energy and strength to go where it is. And we've again been making the festival circuit, and I was like, boy, I hope we get a Laurel somewhere. And it's like, now we're at 90. We're not even done. We've got maybe 10 more festivals on the list.
Did you were you a part of Spooky Empire by chance?
No, well, we visit Spooky.
Okay.
We attend there. We did. We are entered in their film festival for
I
later.
love that convention. I think it's one of the best horror conventions out there.
It's a great convention.
Yeah. Petey's been doing that for a million years, and he really puts on a hell of a show. I know personally a handful of vendors that work the shows, and I haven't been in a long time, unfortunately. I've been out of Florida for 9 years, nine plus. But my wife and I went, I think once. I went once prior, before I met her, and always has had a great time though.
It's turned into such a nice. I mean, it's massive. It's huge,
It is
and
huge.
they do a nice
Yes.
job. But speaking of conventions, I got a little news to go along with that.
Sure.
Well, we are also. Have you ever, since you've been away, you probably haven't been to, but are you familiar with Phantasm? It's another.
I'm familiar with the name.
Phantasm is a really vibrantly growing convention here in Florida. We are going to be there September 16th. We're having kind of a Harlow's event that night. It's a Saturday night. Anybody in the area, anybody that's coming to Phantasm, come see us. We're doing a screening. It starts at 8 o'clock. We're doing a screening at their film festival, the Shock Reel Cinema Film Festival. After that, we're doing a Q&A panel. Some of the cast and I'll be there probably. Should be if I wake up in time. And we're doing autographs, photo ops, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to have the first Blu-rays available there. It's going to be like a limited edition. It's going to be signed and all that. So that's going to be cool. Another cool convention in the area is Spookalla up in Ocala, Florida.
Yep.
Man, that thing. I haven't been to it yet. Amy went. I think it's like 2 or 3 weekends ago. It's kind of recent. And she said it was just absolutely amazing. It was just it was really packed, but that's what it is. But lastly, about the conventions, we are, and we're kind of putting the cart way ahead of the horse here. We're looking at putting together a convention of our own in Tampa, Florida, HorrorCon. So you can kind of keep an eye on that. A little different than your average convention. Not, I won't say average, but it's going to be a little different approach to the whole thing. So it should be fun.
You'll definitely have to keep me posted on that one.
We'll keep you posted on that. It's
I look forward to that. And when is that gonna?
We're not looking till next year, like later next year. So it's the the thing that's starting the baby steps of that. But there's a lot of really good conventions here, and they all kind of address, even though it's a similar thing, horror or fantasy or sci-fi or anything like that. The Comic Cons there, I mean, it's just crazy big, crazy popular. So it's fun, I think, for the audience out there to have different, again, kind of different flavors, different textures.
Sure.
It's kind of down the same road. They're all a little different. Like Spooky's different than Phantasm. It's different than Spookalla. Is on and on.
Right.
And I can't remember how many there are in Florida now. There's a good number of them growing, and just fans dig it. I mean, everybody loves to throw their costume on, their gear, their paint, and come on out. So,
well, if you're ever able to, you get up my direction between Philly and Baltimore, be sure to look up Monster Mania. Packs a punch. You've also got the New Jersey Horror Convention. The East Coast has definitely gotten really big. And then, of course, Texas Frightmare and so forth. If you're looking and willing to finally start traveling, there's a lot of great conventions out there. A lot of people since COVID are now serious about these conventions and are traveling to all of them to make up for a lot of lost time.
They are. People are wanting to get out, and those conventions you mentioned are just booming. I've got friends out in Texas. I was out there last summer for an event at the Texas Chainsaw House. It was Horror Fans for Healing, and Alan Danziger, Chainsaw Jerry, hosted it. It was on his 80th birthday too, but it was a fundraiser for the Uvalde shooting victims' families. And it was such a great weekend. I mean, it was fantastic. We had food. They had a big screen out on the front lawn of the house, and we watched TCM at night. I mean, how surreal is that, watching it on the lawn of the house?
No kidding. God, that's my all-time favorite film too. That would be a dream come true for me.
It was amazing. It was fantastic. Eddie Neal was there, Hitchhiker, and God, I love that guy. Love that guy.
That's incredible.
It was so cool.
Incredible. So Harlow's Haunt will be finally available this coming season, this Halloween.
Yep.
And that was through
Bayview Entertainment.
Bayview, not Baby, Bayview Entertainment. Right. And that is through Black Dog Films.
Yes, Black Dog Films, their production company. Bayview, they've got a few movies out. They're a huge media company, and a few people might have heard of a little movie called Skinamarink. That's one of their productions. Really cool people. They're good. Some of those guys are good friends of ours. And but Bayview, I mean, they're just so supportive. I just can't say enough about them. They're all about indies. They love helping the indie community grow, and they see the value and the passion from not only the filmmakers but the fans, and they really are plugged into that, and that's just, I can't say enough for that, and appreciate everything they're doing for us. And
that's great.
They're fantastic. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to the technicalities of distribution, all that. They're just aces on it, getting top quality Blu-rays and things, all that.
Yeah, and if you're able to go to bed with a good distributor and feel comfortable with it, my friend, I tip my hat to you. That's a nightmare that I've heard about from many
Yeah.
friends and friends/filmmakers. So I definitely wish you the best with that one. I really
appreciate it. Well, we know how lucky we are.
Yeah.
We're playing horror stories too, and to be acquired by these guys, it's just I just sleep perfectly fine every night. They just it's you gotta, when something's your baby for 2+ years and you get it to this point, you've got to hand it off to somebody, and or you can self-distribute, but
Right.
but if you're ready to hand it off to somebody, and you've got to have that warm fuzzy feeling and trust, and especially you've got, I mean, we're so lucky to have a company like them that has reputation, they're established, they've been around 23, 25 years. They just didn't pop up 6 months ago, and
Right.
so they've got a deep bench of experience and reliability. So I'm just blessed to have them steering the ship.
Oh, that's awesome. Again, boys and girls, I hate to wrap this up, but writer director Mr. Terry Jarrell, the film is Harlow's Haunt. Follow him on Facebook, follow him on Instagram, as all the cool kids do. Drop him a line, follow with film festivals. Man, congratulations so much on all the new success that's coming to you through all the film festivals. That is great news. I definitely look forward to hopefully seeing this sooner than later. Hint, hint. Maybe a screener and get you back on here.
Maybe we can work something
We'll
out.
talk soon. Maybe we'll bring you and some of the staff, some of the cast
Love
on
to.
here. And boys and girls, I want to thank you for your time. Terry, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. It's been fun talking to you. I appreciate you filling me in on Harlow's Haunt. Any closing words for you though?
No, just thank you again a million times for taking time to talk about Harlow's Haunt. And we've got a pretty active Facebook community, Harlow's Haunt Movie. We're on everything else: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, just Harlow's Haunt. And it's cool to see people every day. The numbers keep going up. More people are following us. We're very active. We engage. If you have questions, shoot us a private message or whatever. I mean, that's what we're there for.
That sounds great. Terry, thank you so much again. Boys and girls, John Royceland with the Witching Hour podcast. More shows to come. Please keep an eye on me, as I just mentioned, on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on most major podcasts, and of course on my YouTube channel. So be careful out there this summer. Don't breathe in the air if you're on the East Coast with the code Red Air. Code Red Air. Is this not a movie that we're living in?
I just wrote that down.
I swear to God, Code Red every morning on the radio, just to let you know, boys and girls, we are at Code Red today. Anyhow,
that's surreal.
God bless America. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Be safe out there. Terry, thank you so much for your time. Boys and girls, remember to always keep it evil.